Easter is just around the corner, and I'm going to show you how to make cheddar and chive deviled eggs. If you've never had this before, you're in for a treat. The first thing I'm going to do is to fill a pot with water. And you want to make sure that you have enough water so that it covers the eggs as the eggs cook. I'm going to share with you a few tips. I mean, deviled eggs is a very simple recipe, but there are a few tips just to make it a little bit easier. I'm going to place the pot onto the fire and I'll bring it to a boil. I'm going to cover it because it boils faster if the pot is covered. Once the water has come to a boil, I am going to lower the eggs into the water. And the eggs have been sitting at room temperature for maybe about 30 minutes, so it's not straight out of the fridge. And placing the eggs into water that's already boiling, this plus letting it cool in cold water allows the shell to separate easily from the actual egg, so you're not gonna have an egg that's lumpy and bumpy because sometimes that shell gets stuck on there. I know it's happened to all of us. And I boil the eggs for about 10 to 12 minutes, and I'm gonna remove it and place it into the cold water and just let it sit there for about 10 to 15 minutes because I want the eggs to cool down. It's also going to be very easy to handle versus trying to peel a hot egg. Now, there are different ways to cook a hard-boiled egg, and one of the popular ones that's floating around right now is in an instant pot or pressure cooker. I personally have never tried it. Let me know below in the comments section if you have tried this method. I heard it's supposed to make perfect boiled eggs. Now that I've let the eggs cool, I gently tap the egg on the counter and I'm going to peel it, but I'm peeling it from that flat end. It's going to be easier to peel once you start that way. And you want to peel underneath the membrane that's between the egg and the shell. And as you can see, the shell is just pulling away from the egg with ease, and you're going to get a nice smooth surface. That's just imperfections from in the cooking process, but otherwise, as you can see, the shell did not stick to the actual egg. And this doesn't really matter if you're making something like an egg salad where you're gonna basically crush the eggs, but with deviled eggs, you need that white. You need the white of the egg to be perfectly intact because it's going to be in the outside. It's part of the presentation of the egg. Now that I've peeled the eggs, I'm going to slice them in half and just gently release the yolk from the white. You do not want to break the white. Deviled eggs is such a simple recipe, but it is a huge crowd pleaser for some reason. If you're entertaining and there's a table full of food, the first thing to go is always deviled eggs. Now this egg, I'm showing you the egg. This is the one that cracked in the pot that had the white stuff floating around. I guess some of it went into the water, but it's fine. We're going to use it just the same. It tastes the same, and also the cook needs a treat. Using the fork, I am going to mash the yolk of the egg. Another method that you can use, you can place all of the ingredients into the bowl and use a hand mixer to mix it all together. This makes that filling really light and fluffy, but I'm not going to do that today. I'm just going to use a fork. Next, I'm going to add mayo. Now, if you were to make classic deviled eggs, you can leave out, I'm adding cream cheese as well, but you will eliminate the cream cheese and the chives and the cheddar, but that's not what we're making today. So I'm adding mayo, cream cheese, and I use whipped cream cheese. But you can also use the regular cream cheese in the block. Just make sure that it's at room temperature so it's easy to mix in. And I'm adding freshly grated cheddar cheese with the chives, some salt. I'm adding, this is brown mustard, but you can use Dijon mustard, and also freshly cracked black pepper. And I am just going to mix this all together. And if you do make this recipe, you can adjust certain things to your taste. If you prefer the filling to be a little bit more loose, you can add more mayo. If you prefer more cheese, you can go that route. It's cooking. This is a guideline. So whenever you approach a recipe, remember to put your own spin on it. Now I'm just adding the yolk to a Ziploc bag. You can use a piping bag, but honestly, I had none on hand and this works just fine. Now you can get all fancy and use a piping bag with the tip. You'll see it in the recipe for this that's linked below in the description box. But today I am just using a Ziploc bag. I'm going to snip off one of the ends and then I am going to pipe it into the eggs, and you want to fill the base of the eggs. What I do is I kind of fill it some way and then fill all of the eggs just to make sure every egg gets some, and then I'll come back over and add a little bit more if there's filling left over. And I'm just going to top these with a little piece of chive and a little sprinkling of paprika and serve it on my cute little bunny plate. Thank you guys for joining me. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If this is your first time here, please be sure to subscribe. Please give me a thumbs up if you've enjoyed this video. If you do make this recipe, be sure to share it with me over on Instagram at Jehan Can Cook, and I will see you guys next time.